There's a lot of changes coming to the Dallas Cowboys. Ironically, there's a lot of changes coming to this show as well. Thanks to you guys, I was able to finally move out of my parents' house where I was making my videos to purchasing my own condo in West Hollywood and having my own office space. Now, we are by no means finished. I just rushed to put all of this together so I could continue to record videos as news came out. And this was something that I really wanted to cover because I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan to a point of delusion at times. And what they are going through is absolutely insane right now. So before we get to the content, if you want to see a tour of my brand new office and my brand new home, let me know in the comment section down below. We'll probably drop that on Flight Mike TV. I like keeping things strictly football on this channel. All my IRL stuff, all my vlog stuff will probably go on Flight Mike TV. I don't want this intro to drag on way too long, but I really want to take a moment to thank you guys. A lot of people don't know this about me, but 3 years ago, I was literally crying on the floor of my apartment as I had just dropped out of dental school. My brother asked me, "Why are you crying?" And I told him because I don't have a purpose. And it was true. I was 25. I had no career, no direction. I tried making YouTube videos for a decade. I was very unsuccessful. And I wanted to just take a moment to thank each and every one of you guys. Whether it's a viewer that comes to my channel recurrently that isn't currently subscribed, or a subscriber, or someone that has my notifications on, or hell, even the haters that consistently give me views despite hating on my content. Every single person that slides into my DMs giving me suggestions, every single comment giving me constructive criticism to improve the content, every single writer that I've ever worked with, every single editor, especially the editor that is currently editing this video. There isn't a microphone without my community, and there isn't a microphone without people that support me behind the scenes. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank each and every one of you because you guys truly changed my life and gave me a purpose, and I will never take that for granted for a second. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So the Dallas Cowboys it's honestly not looking so good at this point because right after the Dallas Cowboys had a team high 14 penalties in their NFC wildcard game in which they were favored by against the San Francisco 49ers after they embarrassingly decided to run a QB draw on their last play, and Dak Prescott decided to hand the football off to his center as opposed to the referee after Dak Prescott decided that it was a good idea to smite the referees in the post-game presser and then eventually come and apologize for it. Things are officially hitting the fan. Right before the game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys, there was this beautiful rumor that gave all Dallas Cowboys fans some hope. And the rumor was that Mike McCarthy might potentially be fired if the Dallas Cowboys were to have an early playoff exit. And boy, you can imagine our disappointment when we found out that that wasn't necessarily going to happen when Stephen Jones came out and said, no, Mike McCarthy's job is safe. But then there was this other conflicting report where Jerry Jones really likes Kellen Moore. He views Kellen Moore as Jason Garrett 2.0, a great Dallas Cowboys quarterback backup that was able to seamlessly transition into the role of offensive coordinator. He wants to do whatever it takes to retain Kellen Moore and make sure that he becomes the next coming of Jason Garrett. I'm serious. That's literally what the article says. But it gets even worse. There's this rumor at the time where Amari Cooper might no longer be on the Dallas Cowboys for much longer. The source for this stated that it was just a gut feeling, and we had Jerry Jones address it. And believe me, if you're a Cowboy fan, you're not going to like this either. So let's start with the San Francisco 49ers game, shall we? A few days after the game, Troy Aikman gave this beautiful soundbite on how the Dallas Cowboys didn't involve CeeDee Lamb enough in the game plan, saying that San Francisco rushed just 4 guys. For the most part, they blitzed occasionally, but they're a 4-man rush football team. But a lot of times when you say that, then you think they're playing coverage. They mixed in some coverage, but there was a lot of single coverage on CeeDee Lamb. And I hate going back to when I was playing because nobody cares. But what I see around the league, it's not just Dallas, I've seen it with a lot of teams. A lot of these offenses want to scheme things. The coordinators, it's all about scheme rather than this corner is playing soft, he's scared to death, just run the route tree, run a comeback, run a dig route, run a curl, run anything. You're going to complete the pass whenever you want. Michael Irvin would have had 10 catches at halftime if they played us the way they played CeeDee Lamb in that game. The game is not that difficult. If I've got a great player at wide receiver and a corner is playing him single coverage, throw him the ball, he's going to win most of the time. The thing that I said that originally really bothered me about the Dallas Cowboys currently is the fact that they have this very limited window of opportunity for success. You have Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb on rookie scale contracts. Tony Pollard still didn't need to get paid yet. You still have Zeke Elliott with Tony Pollard in that backfield. Your veterans are still good. The older guys are still productive. You still have Zach Martin. You still have Tyron Smith. And then you have Amari Cooper mixed with CeeDee Lamb. You have Cedric Wilson, who's now a free agent this offseason. You had Dak Prescott that just got paid. And this is just all off the top of my freaking head. You had Dan Quinn making that defense look pretty freaking good compared to the way they were last year. And it seems like they completely squandered an opportunity, and I kind of agree with Troy Aikman here. It seems like Dak may have been a little bit too conservative, and the entire time as I was watching that game, I was kind of like, why aren't we taking any shots? Why am I not seeing any throws to CeeDee Lamb? How are the 49ers taking away CeeDee Lamb? Because the 49ers aren't known for having world-class defensive backs and world-class coverage. They're known for their front seven. They're not necessarily known for their DBs. Now, this is where things get really interesting because Mike McCarthy came out and defended his job, saying that we had very positive conversations and just the focus is on the evaluation process. Bear in mind, Executive Vice President Stephen Jones said absolutely, and that he was very confident when asked whether Mike McCarthy would return for a third season. Now, here's where it's interesting. Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones are kind of contradicting each other here. Check this out. Mike McCarthy says, I think for people in this profession, it's accepted. It's part of the job. I get that. I understand why you're asking the question. It's part of the job and you have a job to do. And I have a job to do here today in answering your questions appropriately and respectfully. But yeah, I don't put a lot into it because I know personally what I put into this. I understand what goes on here every day. I know how to win. I know how to win this league. I know how to win playoff games. I know how to win a championship. So I have great confidence in that. What we built here in 2 seasons, I feel very good about. And I think with that, you just stay true to that. The hard part is personal. We all have kids, and that's the part that I don't like. I would hope people are respectful to that. Now, here's the thing that's a little bit uncomfortable. I don't want to discredit Mike McCarthy. I'm going to admit I don't really know what he brings to the Dallas Cowboys aside from burning timeouts prematurely, which I was shocked that we had all of our timeouts left in that final playoff game against the 49ers. But I always felt like the offensive play calling was Kellen Moore. I don't really know who has play calling responsibilities. I always looked at Mike McCarthy as Jeff Fisher, only he won a Super Bowl, and that's because he had the opportunity to coach one of the greatest quarterbacks, if not the greatest quarterback of our generation. Now, he brings up the personnel process, which is very interesting because this is where the Dallas Cowboys are screwed, saying, I trust our personnel process. I think the collaboration with the personnel department, just what we did last year to this year, I mean, my goodness, the change we had on defense from a personnel and coaching staff standpoint, that was the biggest change I've ever been a part of, both the player and coaching side. So to pull all of that together, there was a lot of hard work and a lot of credit that goes to a number of people. I have the same confidence that we'll do that moving forward. Now it's going to be a challenge. I know you can't keep everybody, but for every team, that's the era that we are in. This is where it's absolutely hysterical, man, because Mike McCarthy's just the head coach. Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator from last year, was Mike McCarthy's guy. Mike Nolan was the head coach for the San Francisco 49ers during the 2006 NFL season, and he hired Mike McCarthy as his offensive coordinator. Mike McCarthy returned the favor when he got the Dallas Cowboys job, hired Mike Nolan as the defensive coordinator, and he was horrific. I don't think Dan Quinn was Mike McCarthy's call. I think Dan Quinn was the Jones family's call. Just how Mike Zimmer is being linked to the Dallas Cowboys as the next defensive coordinator if current defensive coordinator Dan Quinn accepts a head coaching job. Because Mike Zimmer has history with the Jones family. He's part of the Bill Parcells coaching tree. And honestly, I think he'd be a great get at defensive coordinator. Not as great as Dan Quinn, but still pretty good. Jerry Jones then came out and just completely started a tornado in Dallas. First things first, he said this about Tony Romo, by the way. I sure do believe that Dak Prescott can win a Super Bowl. He went on 105.3 The Fan on Friday, and he completely stirred the pot. It's absolutely hysterical, the stuff he said. Personally, do I think Dak Prescott could win a Super Bowl with the Dallas Cowboys? Well, I felt like if he wanted to, this year would have been the year to do so, because I don't really think he's ever going to have a team this loaded again. Maybe next year if he's lucky, but soon enough, all the good players from the Romo era and all of the younger players that the Cowboys hit on are going to either get old and washed and past their prime, or they're going to want big contracts, which the Cowboys can't afford because they decided to pay Dak Prescott a 4-year, $160 million contract and Ezekiel Elliott a fat ass contract as well. Here's here's where it gets really interesting. Jerry Jones said this about Mike McCarthy when it came to his job security. So Jerry Jones would comment regarding Dallas Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy and his staff aren't as affirming as the Dallas Cowboys executive vice president Stephen Jones was from earlier this week. Because on Monday, again, Stephen Jones said that he was very confident that McCarthy would remain Dallas's head coach, whereas Jerry Jones had this to say. Let me be real clear. One of the pet peeves I have is that I don't like this. Well, we've got to work on this in the offseason. We've got to work on this. I don't go for that. I want those things recognized and addressed after we play Tampa in week 1, after the first game, or after we play the 6th game. I don't want to wait until we're sitting here with no season left to address the things that we're doing or not doing. All of that is in the mix here and a part of what I do. That's the way I do it. As you know, the ultimate decision in these coaches is the one that I have to make. Now, here's another interesting soundbite from this because I don't want this video to get way too long. Apparently, Jerry Jones isn't happy with Amari Cooper's production. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Amari Cooper had a little bit of a down year this year, not by much, but a little bit of a down year. And bear in mind, he's getting paid a large sum of money. In the 15 games he played this year, he had 68 receptions, 865 passing yards, and 8 touchdowns. A lot of people are citing the lack of targets as the reason why he didn't have that much success. He did have 26 less targets this year in comparison to 130 last year. He only had 104 this year. You can make the argument that the emergence of CeeDee Lamb maybe had a thing to do with it. I'm really unsure, but it's really interesting because I really don't like that type of mentality when it comes to wide receivers. I think Amari Cooper is one of the best route runners in the NFL, definitely at least in the top 3. And currently, at the time that we are recording this, he wants to remain with the Dallas Cowboys in 2022, but he said, I don't make those decisions and I honestly don't know, but hopefully I'll stay a Dallas Cowboy this season. Now, what I think will eventually end up happening is the Dallas Cowboys can save $16 million if they trade or release Amari Cooper. And although that does save the Dallas Cowboys some money, it'll make a very thin wide receiver core if they don't retain Michael Gallup, which I think they will because he's coming off of an ACL tear. Another thing is they can restructure Amari Cooper's deal and that will save the Cowboys $12.67 million. Either way, this is an absolute meltdown. It's looking like the Dallas Cowboys really don't have their shit together. I'm embarrassed to be a fan, honestly, but I've been embarrassed to be a fan for the past 2 decades. Let me know in the comment section, Cowboys fans and just football fans, what do you guys think? And also, if you made it to the end of the video, man, you guys deserve this. Let me know what you think I should put on this wall over here. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.